Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash, your legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother, Teja Dash. Guys, we got a lot to get into today on today's episode, so we're going to kind of just dive right into our first topic here. And
All right.
so last week we recorded, and literally like the next morning, the Sixers signed Caleb Martin to a 4-year, $32 million deal after he apparently turned down a potential 5-year, $65 million deal in Miami. And then just this week, yesterday, we were signed Kyle Lowry to a vet min deal. So obviously phase 2 of the free agency, Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry. How are you guys liking these signings? And the biggest question that we're seeing with the Caleb Martin signing is the fact that Woj said they intend to start him at power forward. And so you got kind of a lot of fans divided on that, of him playing power forward, saying that he's too small to play power forward. So what do you guys make of the signings, and what do you think of Caleb Martin at the 4?
I do like the signing, but I mean that's been my concern. Is we you had so many people that wanted to move on from Tobias, but I still feel we haven't addressed that. Paul George has the size. I don't think he has I don't think he really wants to be that guy. I don't think he wants to be considered a 4. So even with signing Caleb, and I think that's someone that can really help us, we still have, in my opinion, that hole. And you signed him by, letting Paul Reed go. So it's another guy that was sort of a big. Yeah, we got Drummond, but Drummond is more of a 5 to me. So I still think that somehow that 4 position needs to be addressed. I mean, I know it's a lot of teams that play small, but that's still a concern for me because I still look at it as in order to move on in the East, I mean, you have to have someone that can obviously guard Brunson and Tatum and Brown and Giannis. So, I think Tatum and Brown, with the guys that we have, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've addressed the Brunson thing yet.
Yeah.
And we haven't addressed the Giannis thing yet. So I know it's team defense out there, but still, it takes sort of a size or guys with defensive versatility to be able to stop those guys and be able to contain them. But like I said, we've seen it in this last playoff series when you have a guard that was, or a player that was hard to contain, and how much easier it made it for the other guys on the court. And now we're talking about a new Knicks team that's even better this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think that those two things need to be addressed in a 4. I know you can play them at 4. I'm just not a fan of playing them exclusively at 4.
Yeah, I think everyone was expecting a Lowry signing. I think we needed a reliable backup point guard. I like McCain. I just don't think on a championship squad you can rely on him to be your backup, your sole backup guard, right? I just think it's too much for him, and the championship aspirations is just not realistic.
I expected Kyle to come back. That didn't shock me at all.
Yeah. Still, Lowry on a vet min's great. I mean, I'm so happy with that. Like, he's 2 years ago, if we said we'd have Kyle on a vet min for a year and a half, I'd be, ecstatic. So I love the Martin signing. It's funny that yet another situation where the guy's team messing up their contract situation led to us, prospering. So you got PG in his situation, then Caleb Martin in Miami. He's not huge. He's 6'5". He's got like a 6'9" or 6'10" wingspan, though, which is good. It means he can guard bigger guys. But I think that's why, like you said, he can guard the Brown or the Tatum there, right? But Giannis is a little step up from that as far as size goes. But didn't Tucker used to guard? Tucker used to guard Giannis when he was on our team, right? So it's not that crazy. It's again, to have him be like your only guy to do that, it's a little rough. It puts way too much pressure on him. But at least he can switch. He's switchable 1 to 4, which is good. He had 39% on wide open catch and shoot threes last season. Open catch and shoot threes in the playoffs, he had 50%. The year before, he had 49% on wide open catch and shoot threes. So I think he's got. I'm not surprised that we went hard after him with that last money we had left. I mean, he fits. He does check a lot of boxes, and I think they're hoping that maybe later on in the year with possible moves, we can get more of that prototypical 4 to come in and play. Him being named power forward at this point is a little. I mean, honestly, it's July. It's whatever. I don't put a lot of stock in that anyway, especially it's coming from Woj. Do I think he can switch and play spot 4 depending on the matchup? Yeah, sure. But like you said, Eric, I just don't feel like saying right now he's our 4 for the seasons. I don't believe it. I think it's ridiculous. So.
But how would you guys grade these signings? The phase 2 of free agency, you got A+, A. You guys stick with the A that you guys gave the free agency for week 1?
I'll go A.
I'm gonna go A. I mean, I think you feel a need is what I'm saying with the signings. I'm saying that we still have holes.
Yeah.
To fill. Others may feel that holes fill. I don't.
Yeah. Agreed. I think a vast majority of people, I mean, we'll get into the next topic, the Dorian Finney-Smith aspect of things. People still want that trade to be done at some point. So obviously people still think we need a 4. And so, I mean, but yeah, again, it's never, we've hadn't had this amount of wings in a long time. And now we've kind of stockpiled them this offseason. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so with the next topic here, so talking about Dorian Finney-Smith, but a lot of smoke around us signing KJ Martin to a balloon deal in order to trade him to avoid being hard capped. If we were to sign and trade him now, we would have to send out double what we bring back as opposed to trading him dollar for dollar in January. Money aside, would you rather make a trade in January and then there'd be more available options, or make a trade soon to have the team fully assembled by camp?
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm kind of okay either way. But I would say wait till January, because I mean, you could have your full roster at the beginning of the year and you may not like it and have to still make a move. I think this kind of gives you a little more flexibility in the move that you can make. And it's a guy you're familiar with that maybe you can see how he fits. But it all depends on kind of who you can get to take the vet minimum. I think that's what it kind of comes down to for me. If you can address some of the holes you may have via vet minimum, definitely, do it and kind of have that bargaining chip for during the trade line, and maybe you can address a specific need at that time. So I would lean towards January right now.
I'm a pretty patient man. I can wait. I don't see any need to rush and do a trade at this point. I would rather, options aside, that's a good point too. There will be a lot more guys who will be able to be traded in January once their date comes up too. So that's one good point. The other good point is, more or less, this is our team, right? So it's good to see what kind of flaws we might have, what skills we're lacking, what we could use more of. I think by the time January rolls around, it's a good enough, it's like 2-ish months. That's long enough for a decent sample size in order to target the right kind of player who could complete our team, right? Because we make a deal now and we might have flaws anyway, like you said. So we might just be in a situation where we're like, now it's really tough to make a move, right? But if we have that chip to trade later on, then we can just kind of wait it out, wait and see, right? And see what we need and then attack it right head on with more options in January. So plus we had a guy in January. It's plenty of time before the playoffs. The way we've been doing it the last couple of years, we've done like roster overhauls during the season. So if you're talking about adding one guy to the rotation in January, that's not like life-changing or chemistry-making. So I think we'll be okay in order to wait for more options and assess our team.
Obviously, the biggest name that's been attached to us for the last few weeks is Dorian Finney-Smith. That's the person everyone thinks we're going to try to get with this KJ Martin balloon contract. Do you guys think that would, for you guys, I know we talked about not really having the 4 for us, would Dorian Finney-Smith fit that 4 void for you guys?
I mean, I think he would. I mean, he's sort of a small guy 4, but he's also a guy that has played that position on multiple teams, and he's a more defensive-minded guy. So I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine if you can, but I just think you need to get a guy that's played the position, comfortable playing the position, and he's okay playing the position versus getting a guy that he's playing there to start, not necessarily his best position or position he wants to be in. He just wants to be in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think well, it's funny. Whenever we see what KJ Martin's contract is, we'll have a very good idea of who we can get in January. So that'll narrow it down a lot. So we'll know if DFS is the target pretty early, pretty soon after KJ signs his contract. But yeah, I think that scratches it. I mean, I think Martin's on the smaller end of that 4, 3-4, but then DFS is closer to like that 4. Those gives us another bigger body than Caleb. And then I think whoever we target now for vet min would be more of a, I think, classic 4 to back him up for bigger bodies at 4.
Do you think if we were to get DFS, whether it be now or January, Oubre would be the one that moves to the bench and they would put Caleb Martin at 2? It would be Maxey, Martin, PG, DFS, and then Embiid. You think that's what it would be?
You're asking who's more likely to be benched if we got DFS?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I would say probably Oubre.
Yeah.
And not because of better or worse. I just think scoring punch, you can provide that with less creators around him. I think Caleb Martin gives a little more glue value to a lineup full of like scorers. What do you think, Eric?
I would probably pick Kelly to start. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know, Martin. If the rumors of Martin taking less to come here are true, then he's a guy that's looking to increase his value. I think there's probably some promises made there to play and start.
The wink, wink.
Yeah,
it's the famous
not,
Maury.
You know,
wink,
you
wink
can say
deal.
whatever you want in free agency. Yeah, it's some. You can say whatever you want in free agency, but I totally believe that it was some promises there.
You're saying for Martin, right?
Yes, for Martin. I believe he could have went back to Miami
for Kelly and for Martin.
Yeah, I can see Kelly playing as far as promising him a starting position and you're pursuing Paul George, I don't know how you can do that. You know what I'm saying? And you got all this cap room. I don't know how you can promise him a starting position.
Playing time, though. Yeah. A lot of playing time.
Yeah, playing time, yes. I'm saying playing time, definitely. Definitely playing time. And he will get a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
But starting position, I don't know how you can guarantee that.
Yeah.
But I think Martin, you can coming in later and behind, and you already kind of addressed that position. Yeah, I think it's probably some promises. So I would say at the beginning of the year, I'll be surprised for Martin to leave Miami as a starter and come to Philly and not start and take less money. It's some bad agency going on with that dynamic.
Well, yeah, I think they already had some bad agency with that going on. What about, aside from the time they got signed, the money, what about pure skill sets? Who do you think would be better in the starting unit with what we have, or who would be better in the bench, Kelly or Martin?
I think with last year's team, Kelly would be better. I think this year's team, I would take Caleb.
Yeah, me too.
But because you gotta think you getting the guy that's in between Paul and Maxey. He's in between those guys.
Yes, he is.
And based on what you said, as far as the I know Caleb Martin, quote unquote, wasn't really looked at as a spot up 3-point shooter, but the percentages the last 2 years says differently.
Yeah, catch and shoot. Yeah,
a lot of these people go by the analytics and go by the numbers. You have to go by his numbers, and going by his numbers, he's a better fit.
Yeah,
but I see him more as a 2-3, and I guess we're looking at him as a 3-4.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
and I guess when you look at it as a 4, those percentages look better as a 4.
Yeah.
So maybe Finney Smith is the guy that comes off the bench and they start Kelly. So I would say Finney Smith would be second behind Kelly instead of Martin. I don't think Martin ever comes off the bench. I think he starts. And I think it'd be one of those two that will come off before Martin ever comes off.
And those are open and wide open metrics for Caleb Martin. His covered metrics, it goes down a lot in the catch and shoot for threes. And I think between us and Miami, I think he's going to have a lot of open and wide open looks on this team. Especially
he would have more. He would have. Yeah, I mean, I think the teams are going to, invite him to shoot more with the 3 guys that we have. You could probably expect that.
Yeah. A lot of opportunities for these guys. Like Kelly and Caleb Martin, they're going to have a. I also thought just on the Kelly Oubre, bringing him back this week when he had his press conference, he said he refound the love for basketball in Philadelphia. He took less to come back to Philadelphia. He had other teams that were offering him more money, but he still chose to stay in Philadelphia. And he looks to kind of sign a longer-term deal here next year, he said. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that, he chose to come back here, denying more money to come back in Philly and regaining his passion and love for the game in Philadelphia. So I think that was pretty cool. Especially when Philadelphia gets such a raw deal from a lot of the media, the pundits out there always talk about how Philadelphia's so hard on players and stuff. But the fact that a player chose to come back here and saying that he gained love for basketball again, pretty cool.
It's nice to play meaningful basketball on a winning team, right? I mean, it just goes to show you the difference between like
Charlotte.
Well, stats, that too, but empty stats, right? People say the word empty stats, and maybe that's kind of what that was in Charlotte, empty stats, and didn't have a lot of meaning behind it. And he averages less, 6 points less, but every point means more. Every point means a victory toward building something rather than just trying to make a bucket, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go to a game I like to call Pick 2. So in this next topic here, we're going to talk about if we do sign KJ Martin and give him one of the remaining spots, another one going to Adem Bona, which leaves us with 2 spots left, and they'll have all to be veteran minimums, obviously. But which would be your highest priority from here on out as we complete the roster, and here are the names that we're going to look at here. So this is assuming I should have added KJ Martin here, but this is assuming we added KJ Martin to our current roster. Who would be the two guys from the free agent pool here that you would want the Sixers to go after as far as vet min deals?
I'll put a mental asterisk by Gary Trent, because although these fake accounts are saying that he's highly considering Philly, I can't see him taking vet min on a team with like full of wings that we have, because he won't get the playing time. If I were him, I would choose,
that'd be tough.
I would choose Denver if I were Gary Trent.
That would be tough.
1 year, Denver would be good for him.
Believe it or not, I want to say Gordon Hayward.
Ooh, that's one of mine too.
Injuries, but I want to say him. I think if you take away his injuries and he's healthy, because people forget how big he is and how tall he is. Like, he's a guy that could, now you could really play some four.
And he's a good passer too, so you get some playmaking out of him too.
I would say a healthy Gordon Hayward. I like Precious Achiuwa. I like him as a four. I think you address the four and backup four position, and even play some five. But even though with Drummond we don't necessarily need that, but you have a guy that could play with Joel and he could play with Drummond. I mean, but I do like that. But I would still say Gordon Hayward. I'm just assuming he's healthy. And then believe it or not, a guard, I would go with Lonnie Walker.
Okay.
I still, even though I mean, we don't really have a point guard on here, I would have leaned towards a point guard. But being that we got Kyle, I still think you need to address a younger, more athletic wing that can kind of defend and score and bring some more energy. I know we addressed it with our young guys. We sort of have that with Council and McCain, but I still think you probably can get a little more seasoned guy at that position as well.
Yours is pretty close.
I mean, you have to. We have to assume this like Paul's not going to play a full season.
Really? You don't think so?
I'm just saying we have to assume he's not going to play a whole season. The same way we address Drummond for Joel.
It's true.
We have to address that with Paul.
Yeah.
And we have to find guys that are game ready. That's what Gary Trent would be great. I just don't think that for the salary he'll come. But I mean, if Gary is all locked into taking that salary, he's number one. I agree with you. I just don't think he's locked into taking that salary in Philly.
Yeah. If we didn't get Martin, I'd say he might do it for a year, because he knows he would just get open shots all day on our team and play 30-plus minutes. I just don't think he'll play what he'd want to play and be relied on with the money he's taking. If he's taking that money, it's for a 1 year, prove my value to get more money next year type deal. I just think there's better situations for him out there. If I were him, I'd go to like Denver or Milwaukee for that. He'll get a lot of playing time on those teams. Ours are pretty close though. I kind of had it down to four guys. I got it down to Hayward, Walker, Morris, and Covington. That's who I had it down to. I like the guard. I like the scoring off the bench with Walker. You have a really good second unit if you added Walker there. Again, for him, it's kind of the same thing too. It's probably better places to go to for more opportunity. But see, for that same reason, I would think maybe Hayward would be a higher probability, because if you're Hayward, you're thinking, okay, I mean, he's got to know himself at this point. He knows, like, okay, I'm not a 30-minute game a night kind of guy anymore. Even on bad teams I was playing on, they were still putting me down like 25 minutes a game. Okay, so on a contending team, I'm around the 20-minute mark, right? So I want to contend. I want to get meaningful minutes. I want to stay healthy and not be overworked. But then every once in a while, I want to start and play like 30 plus minutes. That is very much like what we need, right? I think he'd play in the 20-minute mark a night, 18, 20, 17, 20. I think he would spot start, like you said. We know George is not going to play all season. I think he'd get a lot of minutes on the spot duty. And I think he wouldn't have to be relied upon as much as he has in the past. I think he could just come in, no pressure, do his thing. I hope playing for OKC and them not really playing him at all didn't sour him on playing like contenders. He doesn't just want to chase stats. But I do like I like Hayward a lot. I think he'd really help us. And he also is a good passer for being a bigger guy. Like he's a pretty good playmaker. So not to say he's going to come out and play point guard for us, but he can bring the ball up every so often when he's in the game. If we don't have another point, if Kyle's sitting that day, I could totally see him doing that. And then I went Rocco and Morris just because I think we will go after more of a starting caliber power forward later on in the year. And I think those guys will help fill in the backup 4 role a little better. Good vet leadership. I mean, Covington, neither one of them are the defenders they used to be, but Morris and Covington can still hit open shots. They're good veterans. Covington can even play like small ball 5 every so often. But I would like either one of those guys too. So I'd probably go Hayward and Morris. No, do.
Yeah, on the Gary Trent, I know there's the false reports out there by these like made up accounts, but Tyrese Maxey and Andre Drummond of the last day have both followed Gary Trent on Instagram. He's followed them back. So if we're judging by that, Paul George and Caleb Martin did the same thing with the guys on the team. And then a day later, they signed in Philadelphia. I don't know, take it as what you will from the Instagram follows, but 2 for 2 so far this season on the follows on Instagram.
And also, I feel like
did any other team follow them?
Probably. I have to imagine.
Okay.
Also, and answer this for me, Eric. Like when you're a free agent and you're seeing someone like George makes a big change to come to Philly, got Drummond. Caleb Martin took less money to come here. You see guys doing that. Does that kind of make you consider a team more than you would have like a month ago, maybe?
I think it'll make a guy consider a team if they can't get the deal they want. Then they will consider that team.
Yes. Yeah.
So if it's come down to a very small difference going to Philly and maybe taking less, then maybe guys will consider it. But I don't think guys are going to consider it if it's a huge
and bypass paydays. Yeah, I don't think so either. That's true. Also, nothing to note too. Again, I don't know how much true it was, but I had heard previously that Nurse and Trent didn't have the best relationship. So for him to choose us over other teams, unless it's been years and grass isn't always greener on the other side. So maybe he's had a chance to work with other coaches and he's like, damn, maybe Nick Nurse wasn't that bad. Actually, maybe I was just kind of in my feelings at the time. So, you never know with that.
You don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll know if he signs, there wasn't a problem with that.
Yeah. Or either he got over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to Kyle Neubeck, PHLY, Sixers insider. He was saying that comparatively with Pascal Siakam and Trent, Siakam and Nurse's relationship was pretty done, but Trent and Nurse it's not an irreparable situation. So he wouldn't be surprised if he did come and they would have no impact on him. His relationship with him wasn't that bad as what's being reported out there. So
you said Pascal and Nurse's relationship was like done? It wasn't good?
Yeah, it wasn't good. At the end, they were pretty much butting heads all the time with each other.
Interesting.
But he had a good relationship with OG, and I think OG was like his main guy. But the Trent one apparently is not irreparable, so he could, in theory, come to Philadelphia. I don't think that would be an issue. But the money's got to be right, so we'll see what he's getting on the other end.
Yep.
Okay, so final topic here. So we heard your guys' comments last week on our YouTube channel. So we want to take a moment to defend ourselves on the podcast this week. So we had a lot of commenters, a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new people. So welcome to the channel, guys. A lot of the commenters thought you two were being negative with the Paul George signing last week. People said they came to the pod to listen to you guys, be excited about it, be pumped up, and they said they kind of got it was kind of it was a whim for them because they fell flat listening to you guys not be as pumped up about it. Mainly saying that that Paul George signed in Philadelphia for the money, and they thought that there'd be more to it than that. But that's what they said. One of the comments said, as a player, you have to think East Snow has to know something about how wanting to go somewhere versus only going because there was money on the table can affect how some guys play. So that was one of the comments. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of people were just saying you guys weren't being the most positive about stuff. So I want you guys to defend yourselves on the comments from last week.
Defend ourselves or just say what people want to hear?
No,
what are we talking about here? Hey man, look. Let's be honest. Because Paul has come out and said,
Yep.
They were disrespectful on the negotiations. The Clippers have come out and said Paul George was unreasonable in negotiations. He goes to the team that has the most cap space and gets the deal that he wants that the Clippers don't offer. That's a guy that was willing to leave, but he left because the deal was better. He would have never went to Philly if they offered him the same deal as the Clippers. He would have never did it. Everybody knows that. I mean, I can still be excited about Paul, but be real about negotiations. I'm excited that he's here, but we speaking on pure negotiations and how negotiations go.
Yeah.
He went for the more money. He went for the more money and the more years. That's what you do as a free agent.
Yeah, and we won. We got
and
it.
That's
right?
fine.
Yeah.
We benefited from the Clippers not wanting to give him that. What we were willing to give him.
Yeah.
So it is a win for us. But let's not make it seem like he's like, no, Clippers, I just want to be in Philly. Let's be real now. That's being real.
Girl's in a bad relationship, and we're the new guys. Like, baby, I'll take care of you. I'll treat you right. You know, whatever you want, I got. And she left him, and we got him. We got her. There you go. I'm like, well, okay. I'm not gonna I'll tell my buddies how it happened. That's not me complaining about being with her at that point. Yeah. I'm just being honest. I came in. I said I would take care of her, and here she is now. Done deal. Gone. We got George. That's how we got him. I mean, I think you can do both. Yeah. I think honesty doesn't always equal negativity. I'm not unhappy about it. You could actually, there are people that are actually.
It's not negative. It's like It's not negative that we're saying that we signed them, because almost all contracts are signed because people were offered the same amount of money. If he stayed in LA with the Clippers, guess why he would have stayed? Because they gave him the best deal.
Yeah. That's why everyone's saying that Mark should fire his agent.
So,
because they were going to give him more money.
But my thing is, but the difference is he probably felt staying in Miami, he deserved more. So you kind of come to a decision where I feel like I'm more in Miami. The difference between Paul and Martin is Paul had an option that was more.
For more, yes, that's true. Yes.
Caleb didn't. So he had an option that, they offered you more, but if you feel like that's not enough, you may say, well, I'm willing to leave and take less because I know I can't be here at what y'all offered me, because I feel like for what I do with this team, I feel like I'm worth more. So sometimes you can kind of have an intuition that I feel like I'm not going to be happy at this rate here. So that seems to me more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
And then he might have wanted to go out there, and then all of a sudden you see and that deal isn't what you want. But to me, then why didn't he take a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
So sounds like it was a guy that wanted to leave. It got to a point where they kind of like, okay, it's best for you to go, and he's like, okay, it's best for me to go.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like. Well, the Paul George situation sounds like it's best for you to go because we're not going to meet your salary demands, and it's best for me to go because you're not going to meet my salary demands.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty mutual, actually.
It wasn't about fit or anything else. It wasn't about fit and role or anything. It was just we can't do it. We're not going to do it.
And if the Clippers accept
if both sides were willing to come together, that's an easy deal. That's an easy deal.
And if Clippers accepted Golden State's offer, he'd be a Warrior right now. So we'd be third option on that list behind California South, California North.
They wouldn't even take that. Yes.
No.
They wouldn't even take that deal. So him leaving and then Philly giving him what he wanted. It's
fine. It's
I think you got to be. That being said, like I do understand people saying that we were negative because I do feel like, hey, even though he kind of didn't work out with the Clippers, he still had to want to come, and that he did. That's why I'm saying there's enthusiasm and excitement for him coming, but we still have to talk about kind of what people don't want to hear and kind of it's real.
Yeah.
Because that's the real part of negotiations. And I've been there. I've been where he is, not at that level as far as the amount of money, but I've been where you have multiple teams competing for your services. And I took less to stay in Philly. When my first, I think it was my first free agency with Philly. Toronto offered me more than Philly did. So I know what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I said it last week. You're going to have to pay up the wazoo to make a California boy leave California. Like, there's a reason why LA and Golden State were top 2 on his list. And then I mean, like that's the nature of it. And we had the money. We set ourselves up in position for that. And it's great. But, the Clippers fumbling the situation led to this, right? It all led to this. And it was just a perfect situation. Now he's get to rebuild himself here, set a new name for himself, and he can push himself harder. He's been dogged by a lot of Clipper fans since this, right? They've all turned their backs on him. Even after he said a lot of nice things on his podcast about them, and he said he wanted to stay. I mean, he didn't hide that at all, which is crazy, right? Because after the fact, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, but he still said.
That's what I'm saying. He said it. He said he said it. We didn't even have to say it.
Yeah, I want to be here. So, he's also trying to keep, podcast viewers from the West Coast. He doesn't want to lose all of his fans from over there. But, they're calling him overrated and overpaid, and that's fine. Hopefully it brings the best out of him now. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and let's play some effing ball,
Yeah. So we are excited about it. I don't know. Some of the viewers sometimes I don't think they listen to the whole segment because you guys both gave it an A, and they still thought we were negative, even though you guys both gave it an A. And on his podcast, he also said, I mean, it's pretty much.
No, but I do understand why they feel like we were negative. I do understand that because we did kind of talk about why he came and how he came, because that's kind of like we're being authentic. We're not just selling, hey, we're just straight homers and we're excited. Like we are giving real dialogue of why he came. But so I do agree with them that we could have come off negative. It's just realistic though.
Yeah. I'm happy he's on our team. No question, no doubt.
Yeah. And he did reveal it himself that, the Sixers were like the number 3 for him outside staying in Clippers and being traded to Golden State. I mean, he was glowing talking about playing with Steph. I mean, when he was talking about it in his podcast, he was glowing about it.
Leave the West Coast. It's as simple as that. I mean, he didn't want to leave. This is home. I mean, like it's I'm sure he could have rationalized the Kings too if they were willing to trade a bunch of pieces for him. Like he didn't want to leave the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like it's close enough. He didn't want to leave. But luckily, his wife's from Northeast. That helps.
Yeah.
So he's got family over there. It's a big move. And it's his first time on the East Coast. So it's very, very new for him, right?
Yes. It's a different climate, man.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Yeah. And Philly. We're not just saying East Coast. We're saying Philly.
Well, he was in Indiana. Indiana's got, as far as weather-wise, it's about the same weather.
He'll love Philly.
Yeah.
He compared it a little bit to the Indiana.
It's not quite the same, but yeah, man. Yeah, Philly's different than Indiana. He'll like Philly, like Philadelphia, the city, and what you can do, and how close it is to DC and New York and Miami, and you know what I'm saying. Like he'll like Philly. It's just going to be all about the basketball experience. That's the part we hope it, man. We maximize everyone's ability and kind of do things that we've been wanting the team to do.
Yeah.
While we're on that topic real fast, I have a question. Are you worried about the thickness of his skin going from like pretty much second fiddle in LA to not even like the number one team in the city to like a city that eat, breathes, poops sports in Philadelphia?
I mean, I think him coming to Philly and taking the contract that he did, you have to be aware that that's a part of being in Philly. You have to be aware of that. So I don't think him and his agency and his group has done their homework if they don't feel like that's something you have to kind of
take on,
know is there.
Yeah.
But that can all be addressed with your play. Your play can determine all of that.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
I'm sure he probably feels like, hey, I'm going to go and ball out. Yeah, I'm going to ball out, and it's not going to be an issue. But when you play in Philly, there's always issues somewhere. Everybody's played there. There's been some issue somewhere. So it's how you get over that hump and how you continue to help the team win. And ultimately, if they're able to do that, and he's a big part of that, then that's what it's going to really be about.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, it's aside from just weather and climate, literally climate and for weather, it's just a different situation than he's been used to, right? It's just like because again, the Clippers are the Clippers, the Lakers own LA. Let's be honest here, right? So he's going to a place that shared someone else's stadium to like Philadelphia. That's a big change for him. But like you said, taking that contract, he's ready for him. He's confident. He's confident in his abilities in doing it. Anytime you make that entire staff and management and Dr. J take off their shoes when you come in your house, man, you're a confident dude. He looks ready for it. I like the confidence.
So there you have it, guys. We are happy and excited for Paul George to be in Philadelphia. And we are also excited for Las Vegas Summer League, which I think begins for us tomorrow. So we'll be able to watch some more Sixers Summer League and watch the Young Bucks continue to thrive. I know Adeb Bono's been the big guy that everyone's been excited about so far. Him and Ricky Council really taking the show over in the Salt Lake Summer League. So excited to see them continue that in the Vegas Summer League. But that does it for us, guys. We'll see you guys next week. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, fellas.
Guys, later on.
All right.